History doesn't warn you before it happens. It does not send a signal, does not lower the lights, does not pause to let you prepare. It simply arrives, suddenly, violently, gloriously, and by the time you realize what you are witnessing, it is already over. And the team that was supposed to win is already on the plane home, staring out the window, unable to explain to anyone, including themselves, how it ended this way. Every World Cup produces at least one, a team that no one was discussing 2 weeks before the tournament began. A nation whose name was buried in the bracket, assigned the role of opponent, of obstacle, of points to be collected by the favorites on their way to something greater. And then whistle blows, and everything the world assumed turns out to be wrong. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has begun. The giants have taken their positions. France, Brazil, Spain, Portugal, the hunters are on the field. But somewhere in the shadow of those giants, 4 teams have arrived with something more dangerous than talent alone. They have arrived with nothing to lose. And in football, there is no more terrifying combination than quality and desperation wearing the same jersey. These are the underdogs, and one of them is going to break something. Morocco should not still be called an underdog. That word stopped fitting them somewhere between the quarterfinals and the semifinals of the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, when they eliminated Spain on penalties, then dismantled Portugal so completely and so efficiently that Cristiano Ronaldo walked off the pitch in tears and the entire football world went quiet. They became the first African nation, the first Arab nation, in the history of the World Cup to reach the Final Four. They did it with a defensive structure so organized, so tactically suffocating, that elite coaches spent the days after their eliminations trying to reverse engineer what had just happened to them. That core is still largely intact in 2026. Achraf Hakimi, one of the best right-backs on the planet, still raids forward with the speed and precision of a man who plays his club football at the highest level in Europe. Their defensive shape remains one of the most compact and difficult to penetrate in the entire tournament. They lost just once in 16 qualifying matches. They defeated England at Wembley in a pre-tournament friendly, and they have been drawn into Group C alongside Brazil, which means if they perform as they are capable of performing, their reward for navigating the group stage could be a collision with one of the tournament's great powers in the round of 16. Morocco are not here to make up the numbers. They are here because they learned something in Qatar that cannot be unlearned, that the biggest teams in the world are beatable, that tactics can neutralize talent, and that belief, once it takes root in a dressing room, is almost impossible to dig out. Japan carries a different kind of story, a quieter kind, a story built not on dramatic upsets or emotional narratives, but on something arguably more unsettling: consistency. Year after year, tournament after tournament, the Samurai Blue have arrived at the World Cup more organized, more technically refined, and more psychologically composed than the previous edition. In Qatar, they topped a group containing Germany and Spain. They won it. They did not simply survive it. They topped it, ahead of 2 of the most storied programs in the history of the sport. They have lost just once in 16 World Cup qualifying matches. They are disciplined, structured, and utterly fearless against opponents the rest of the world assumes will destroy them. The round of 16 has always been the wall, the ceiling they have pressed against without breaking through. But this Japan squad feels different. There is a maturity to their movement, a collective intelligence in their pressing and their transitions that suggests a team that has finally stopped being impressed by the names on the other jerseys. They do not have a single global superstar. What they have is something more dangerous at a tournament like this. 11 players who believe completely in each other and in a system that has been refined across years of deliberate, patient construction. If Japan finally breaks through that round of 16 wall in 2026, no one who has watched them carefully will be surprised, and every team that faces them will know, from the opening whistle, that they are in for the longest 90 minutes of their tournament. Colombia arrive in North America as perhaps the most genuinely talented underdog at the entire 2026 World Cup. That distinction matters, because there is a difference between a team that competes. Luis Díaz, who just completed an extraordinary season at Bayern Munich with 26 goals and 19 assists across all competitions, is one of the most feared wide forwards in European football. His speed, his directness, his capacity to produce moments of individual brilliance in the exact moments a match needs them most make him the kind of player who changes games without warning. Around him, Colombia possess a midfield with genuine technical quality, a defensive structure that has tightened significantly over the past 2 years, and a collective belief forged through a qualifying campaign in which they produced some of the most impressive football in South America. They have been drawn into Group K alongside Portugal, which means their first significant test may come against Cristiano Ronaldo's side in what promises to be one of the most compelling group stage matches of the tournament. If Colombia can survive that collision and advance into the knockout rounds, they will carry with them the momentum of a team that has already proven something. And a team that has already proven something at a World Cup is an entirely different animal from the one that arrived. And then there is Norway. 26 years. That is how long it has been since Norway last appeared at a World Cup. An entire generation of Norwegian football lived and died without ever playing on this stage. And now they return, not quietly, not tentatively, but with Erling Haaland leading the line. The Manchester City striker scored 16 goals during European qualifying, twice as many as any other player on the continent, 16 goals in qualifying. That number does not belong to a supporting character. It belongs to a force of nature. Alongside him, Martin Odegaard controls the tempo and direction of Norway's attack with a technical sophistication that rivals any midfielder in the world. Antonio Nusa provides the unpredictability on the wing. Norway are drawn into Group I alongside France, which means their very first major test is against the tournament's most complete squad. But Norway lost just once in 16 qualifying matches, and that single defeat came against England at Wembley, a result that stung but did not break them. They know they can compete. They know Haaland alone gives them a path to victory in any match on any given night. And there is something about a team returning to the World Cup after 26 years of absence that cannot be measured in statistics or tactical analysis, a hunger that fills the space between the lines, that makes a team run that fraction harder, press that fraction higher, believe that fraction more completely than the opposition expects. Norway are not here to be grateful for the invitation. They are here to make everyone remember they showed up.
Teams.
4 nations standing in the long shadow cast by the tournament's established powers. Morocco with the memory of Qatar burning in their chests and a defensive structure built to punish the overconfident. Japan with the quiet, methodical ambition of a team that has been preparing for this moment for years, without ever making noise about it. Colombia with the individual brilliance of Luis Díaz and the collective belief of a squad that knows, genuinely knows, that they can hurt anyone. Norway with Haaland and the 26-year wait of a nation finally given back its seat at the table. History does not care about rankings. It does not care about odds or previews or the consensus of analysts who have been watching this sport for decades. History cares only about what happens when the whistle blows and 22 human beings step onto a rectangle of grass and decide, in real time, what they are made of. One of these 4 teams is going to walk further into this tournament than anyone expects. One of them is going to eliminate someone they were never supposed to eliminate. One of them is going to produce a moment, a goal, a save, a penalty shootout, a last-minute reprieve. That becomes the image of the entire 2026 World Cup. We do not yet know which one. That is precisely the point. That is the gift the underdogs give us every 4 years. Not certainty, not the comfort of the expected, but the electric, vertiginous, completely addictive possibility that everything we thought we knew is about to be proven beautifully, gloriously wrong. Tell me, which underdog do you believe goes the furthest in 2026? Which nation is about to write the tournament's most important chapters are always the ones no one saw coming?